Hello ladies and gentlemen, Kaz'tik here, back with the quick raid guide for heroic Paragons of the Klaxxi. And as always, if you want the full guide with a lot more detail about each of the phases in this fight, you can check out the full raid guide in the bottom left there. So the first thing to consider, of course, is the basic kill order of the mobs. And I won't go into detail about why the order is the way it is in this guide. Again, you can check out the full guide for that info. But on the top left there, you can see the basic order. And in my opinion, this is by far the best kill order for the mobs, just due to their various abilities and the strengths and weaknesses therein. So when you begin the fight, you're going to DPS Bloodseeker, but you actually want to target and attack Dissector first. You want to do this so that the bloods that initially spawn will go toward the Dissector, who's pulled off to the side, rather than the Bloodseeker. Meanwhile, Bloodseeker is being pulled to the entrance of the room. You also get a lot of parasites, so it's important that your tank avoids mitigation for that first injection to spawn the first set of parasites, because these need to be eaten by scorpion-targeted players. However, after the first set of parasites, make sure your tank on Dissector uses all their mitigation abilities to avoid injection. Other than that, there are a lot of abilities going on, because this is the first set of 3 that you're used to. So avoid the rapid-fire bolts, help soak the aim. You should have a team of 3 or 4 players to help soak aim. And keep CCing the parasites. The second set of bloods may come in while Bloodseeker is still active, so make sure you stun those if possible. And this will give you a little bit of extra time to kill Bloodseeker before the second set of bloods reaches him. The second target is Rikkal the Dissector. He should have been pulled off to the side toward the entrance wall, but off to one side, so that the second set of bloods, when they explode and try to heal where Bloodseeker previously was, they will not hit Dissector. So you're just DPSing him down. You should not get any more parasites, but you want to continue CCing the existing ones, and Scorpion players should keep eating them. You can eat 1 or 2 parasites per phase depending on your speed, but when you're first learning, you may only want to eat 1 parasite and then just heal through or CC the damage that they deal. And that's pretty much it. Keep avoiding the bolts, the amber, the whirl, that's now active from Locust, and help soak aim and all that stuff until Dissector is dead, and then move on to the next. So third, you have Korven the Prime, and you're attacking him as soon as he activates. However, to kill him, you can kind of use a trick here. So normally when one of the bugs reaches 50% health while Korven is active, he will heal them with amber. However, in order to sort of trick this ability and not do it the proper way, quote unquote, you actually force a different target to reach 50% before Korven does, and then you kill Korven while he's on cooldown for the amber. So you basically want to DPS Korven to about 60% and then push Locust to 50%. Once Locust activates the amber shield and tries to heal, you then DPS Korven down all the way and finish him off. You have 30 seconds to do that. So that's pretty much it. Meanwhile, your tank should swap Korven about halfway through his vicious assault attacks, and the rest of your raid needs to make sure they're not in front of the boss, otherwise they'll die from that. Your fourth target after Korven is Hisek the Swarmkeeper. Of course, he is stationary in the center of the room up to this point, so make sure you watch for his bolts when you come in, because you could use them right away, as you saw there. But otherwise, this phase is pretty simple. You keep avoiding the bolts and the aim, help soak that up. You also now have Fiery Edge, which is used by the new mob Iyyokok the Lucid. So try to stay spread apart at least 15 yards or so from a linked Fiery Edge player. And if you guys are far enough away from one another, the damage will be quite low from the Fiery Edge, easily healable. Your fifth target is Xaril the Poison Mind, and again, he is killed as soon as he activates. This is one of the more dangerous phases because of the catalytic colors that he will use eventually once he's active. And there are 3 different colors. You can see the full details on the top left there in the details section. But generally speaking, when he uses one of these colors, the best thing to do is to spread apart from other raid members and be far away from the boss. closest to the wall, the better. Basically, if you avoid touching the green pools if they spawn, the fire purple path if it spawns, or the orange circles from other players if they spawn, you'll be fine. So that's the basic idea. Otherwise, you're just burning him down. You probably don't want to use heavy DPS cooldowns for this boss because you'll want them for the next one, but it depends what your raid decides, generally speaking. Next on the list is Kaz'tik the Manipulator. Again, a target that you're killing as soon as he activates. And this guy is another one of the trickiest phases, mainly because of the Kuchongs that he activates. So once he becomes active, these Kuchongs will spawn. There'll be 3 active at any given time. And they'll be in random places around the circle of the room. If a Kuchong touches you at the front of its face and sort of noms on you, you will die, which is what happened to one of our shamans there a moment ago. So be careful of where they're spawning, that you're not too close to one of them. Once all 3 are active, your ranged and healers should try to move somewhere around the room far away from them, wherever that opening happens to be, since it's random. If a Kuchong mesmerizes a player, just like a normal, it will suck them toward the Kuchong. So your ranged DPS need to quickly switch I can't speak, to that target and burn it down before it gets too much energy. Your raid should plan for one of the Kuchongs to become mature and activate. If this is the case, one of your tanks needs to quickly build up threat and pull it to them. The tank can then hold it for the remainder of its duration, and the rest of your raid can just kill it off quickly. But plan for one of them to activate in that manner. Usually it will take 2 mesmerized phases for this to occur. The final boss to activate is Wind-Reaver, and Kil'ruk is very dangerous for the tank in particular. So this is why you kill him immediately when he appears. Your tank should try to keep their active mitigation going at all times if possible, but if they cannot, don't be afraid to use more activated personal cooldowns when you do not have your active mitigation going, because he dual wields, it's very fast and very hard. So that's one of the reasons you're killing him quickly. Other than that, while he's active, your raid members need to watch for the Death from Above ability, where he sort of leaps toward a random raid member and lands on them. So if you're moving constantly when he uses that, you can avoid it completely. The other ability is Reave, which will suck everyone in, as you see there. So the best thing to do is to stay far away from him. The further away you are, the less damage you'll take. And just run against it. This does lower your DPS quite a bit, so that's another reason that we're killing him as soon as he activates rather than one of the other targets. So the second to last target is Iyyokok the Lucid, and you have no more bugs activating, so this is just cleanup at this point. Fight is pretty simple. You're dealing with Iyyokok first because the Fiery Edge he uses is unavoidable damage, whereas the abilities from Locust are still completely avoidable. So, just burn him down first, and then you'll be on to Locust at the end. And that's pretty much it. There's really not much else to discuss. Obviously, this is the quick raid guide, so I'm just breezing through everything very quickly. Mechanically, there are new things that Heroic adds to this fight. And if you want the full details of those, again, check out the full raid guide. But generally speaking, most of this fight is all about survival. So dealing with some of the new mechanics, parasites, and all that good stuff, while being used to all the old mechanics that still exist that should be generally avoidable. You want to burst your DPS when it matters, so things like Kaz'tik the Manipulator or Xaril the Poison Mind are where your DPS really matters, as well as Bloodseeker at the very beginning of the fight. But other than that, it's mostly just getting used to the pattern. It will always be the same every attempt. And once you're used to one particular boss or phase, then you can move on to the next one, get used to that, and move on to the next, and so on and so forth until the fight is down. So that is the quick raid guide for Heroic Paragons of the Klaxxi. As always, hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.